After invading the city of Troy, the Greeks indulged in scenes of extreme violence. Ares, the god of war, could not be more pleased with the rivers of blood that flowed through the city streets. Inside the royal palace, the Trojan nobility was terrified. They knew that the Greeks would be merciless. A terrible fate awaited all of King Priam's subjects. Aeneas led a heroic resistance, halting the advance of the Achaeans and buying time for many Trojan citizens to escape the city. All hope of victory for the Trojans had gone up in smoke. Achilles' son, Odysseus and Menelaus, broke down the door of the royal palace, and the goddess of victory stood beside them. Menelaus's blood boiled as he searched for Helen of Troy. He had an enormous desire for revenge. Odysseus was fighting the last men of the royal guard, who, even though outnumbered, offered strong resistance. While Neoptolemus cornered King Priam of Troy in the temple of Zeus, old King Priam raised his sword for the last time. The king's white hair did not move the son of Achilles, who pierced the old man's belly with his sword. Menelaus found Helen in the chamber of Prince Deiphobus, her new husband. The Spartan king wished to dye the room with the couple's red blood. Deiphobus raised his sword and advanced against Menelaus, but he didn't stand a chance against Ares' apprentice warrior, who killed the prince as if he slaughtered a pig. Helen came face to face with the man she betrayed and abandoned. Menelaus was bathed in Deiphobus's blood and huffed like an angry bull. The queen of Sparta was resigned, for she knew that her destiny was Hades. But the gods had not yet abandoned Helen of Troy. Her ally, the goddess Aphrodite, caused an aura to emerge around Helen. This aura emphasized all the exuberant beauty of the Spartan queen, almost blinding Menelaus. Repentant for her actions, Helen offered her body to Menelaus's blade. The son of Atreus could not consummate his revenge, for he was still in love with this woman. Seeing her husband falter, Helen embraced him and asked for forgiveness, saying that she still loved him. Without speaking a word, Menelaus dropped his weapon and accepted the embrace of the woman he loved so much, to the point of driving two nations to war. The battle for the royal palace was over. All the descendants of the Trojan nobility were dead. None of King Priam's sons had survived. Queen Hecuba, the prophetess Cassandra, and the princess Andromache had been arrested and their fate handed over to the Greek leaders to be shared as slaves. But the fate of Astyanax, son of the great hero Hector, was still uncertain. He was the last living heir of Priam's lineage. With victory accomplished, the Greeks pillaged and burned Troy to the ground. Aeneas managed to escape the city, carrying Anchises, his crippled old father, on his back and hauling his son, Asanius. He fled to distant lands, giving rise to a proud people known as the Romans. As Troy burned in flames, the goddesses Hera and Athena rejoiced that they had achieved their longed-for revenge against Troy. Agamemnon was pleased by his large share of Troy's plunder. He also received Cassandra, a prophetess whom the Trojans ignored, leading them to such a hideous fate. But one last sad and terrible scene put an end to the war. Astyanax was torn from the arms of Andromache, who wept in despair. From atop the walls of Troy, Neoptolemus hurled the poor child toward certain death. The Greeks agreed that they could not leave the last heir of Priam's house alive. After all, Hector's blood ran in the child's veins, and if he grew up as strong as his father, his revenge on the Achaeans would be terrible. After 10 years of war, the Greek heroes and their men returned to Hellas. Despite the many glories and treasures, the return home was difficult. United, they fought for the honor of their land. For millennia, The muses would inspire idos and minstrels to sing the deeds of the great men who sacrificed their blood at Troy. Those achievements became immortal